Most youth struggle with identity. The question, who am I, is inherent to being young. For students who come to Telos who struggle with their identity, oftentimes their value system and the answer to the question, who am I, is really dependent on who they're with or what their interest is that week. Experimenting and exploration is common with young people in their desire to kind of make their own stand in life and develop who they are. But for somebody with an identity issue, there's too many question marks for them to make sense of it, and sometimes the roads they go down in an effort to answer those questions can lead to danger and can be very destructive. So many of the boys here who are going to be doing the identity module have been adopted. And adoption for some boys is not a major issue, but for others it is a huge identity crisis. Most boys, when they grow up, they answer the question, who am I, by looking at their parents. Well, that's who I am. I'm half her and half him, and here I am. For adopted parents, or for adopted children, they look at their parents and they see their adopted parents, and they know that to a degree that's who they are, but also to a degree there's a biological factor. There's these unknown, sometimes nameless, sometimes faceless birth parents out there. And the question, who am I, isn't as easily answered. So some adopted kids, they refer to this wound or this loss, and sometimes we call that the first wound or the first loss. They have a belief that although they've been chosen by somebody to be adopted, that meant that they first had to be given away by somebody. And along with that, there's an element of mourning, of sadness. Sometimes they can struggle with attaching to their adoptive parents or to anyone. Sometimes these boys, they just have a lot of emotional baggage to sort through. They may or may not need to meet their birth parents later on in their life, or at least try to meet them, try to find out who they are. There's such an individualized approach to dealing with treating somebody who's struggling with their adoption, or treating somebody who's struggling with just their identity. Maybe they aren't adopted. There's so many different variations in treatment that we could talk for hours and hours about how to do that. So you'll be left to kind of following your primary therapist lead on the different specifics and the subtleties of how to approach this. The one thing that you can count on doing is, as your son is searching for his identity, make sure that as parents, you know what you stand for and what your identity is all about. And be that stable anchor in his life. Be that person who's calm, who's understanding, who's loving, who's kind, who isn't going anywhere. And make it very clear that you will always be there for him as he's searching through the question of trying to find out who he is. Here at Telos, we'll be trying to help him sort those things out. We'll be trying to help him see himself through your eyes, see himself through our eyes, take the best parts of himself and amplify those, and put his stamp of approval on those so that he can hang his hat on it and he can be that developed, complete person that he wants to be. I'd like to invite you to follow the links on this page. Most of them will take you to material about adoption. Feel free to look through those and raise your level of awareness on the specific issues that your son is dealing with. Also download the identity module so you can see some of the therapeutic tasks we'll be having him do here at Telos. Thank you.